Good morning, dear children. We are again with our new English session. Hope you have written all activities completed, I think, from first two units. Now we are going to the first two chapters. Now we are going to the next unit. Still there are two more poems are there that we will deal after the school is reopened. And I will send you the link of that poem from Victor's channel if you want. I hope you may have listened it. So I am going to the new unit. So what is the name of the new unit? Wings and Wheels, unit 2. Okay. So in the second chapter, we were dealing with the second chapter story, The Boy Who Drew Cats. Okay. So there were some activities were there, 11 questions were there. So I think you have written it. So after complete you should send it to me. There are two small activities were also there. You have written it. Anyway, let us go to the next unit. Wings and wheels. What is the meaning of wing? Wings and wheels. Wings, chiragugal, and wheels, chakragal. Okay, let us read the stories, then we will understand what does the unit heading means. What does the unit heading mean, you know. Let us, you may please take page number 44. Textbook page number 44. Okay, have you taken? So let us look. There is a small column. There is read the following extract from Robinson Crusoe's diary. A diary writing is there. You look. So from this we can understand one thing: how to write a diary, how to start a diary. Look, read the following extract. Have you heard about Robinson Crusoe? Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe. Who is Robinson Crusoe? It is a very wonderful character. He was one of the person in a ship. It's a very interesting novel, Robinson Crusoe. It's a character. He was in a ship and the ship wrecked in the sea, and he was the only person who survived. And he was in an island. He reached in an island. No inhabitants in that island. No people. There was nobody in that island. For months, a lot of days, he has been spending in that island. Without food, without anybody. Only the fruits and other things which he could get from that island. Nobody is to help there. Only one. You think about, suppose you are only in a particular place. Can you imagine that you are only in a house, suppose? ഇപ്പോൾ നമുക്കതൊക്കെ പരിചയമാണ്. Suppose some of us are coming from abroad. വിദേശത്ത് നിന്നൊക്കെ വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് they are staying alone in a house. What is the technical term? Quarantine. Do you remember? Quarantine വീട്ടിൽ മാത്രം ഇരിക്കുക. And cooking, self-cooking, self-washing, everything doing. All the works are doing alone in a house. But it is not in a house. നമുക്ക് ടെലിഫോൺ സൗകര്യങ്ങളുണ്ട്. വിളിക്കാം, എന്തെങ്കിലും ആവശ്യമുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ടെലിഫോൺ വിളിച്ചു പറഞ്ഞാൽ സാധനം മുറ്റത്തെത്തും. നമ്മളെടുത്ത് ഭക്ഷണം പാകം ചെയ്താൽ മതി. അങ്ങനെ സൗകര്യമാണ്. ഗൾഫിലുള്ളവർക്കൊന്നും ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് എൻ ഈസി ജോബ്. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് എ ഹാർഡ് ജോബ്. കുക്കിംഗ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ദറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് എ ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട് ജോബ്. ദി ക്യാൻ ഡു എനിത്തിങ്. ഈവൻ ഐ. സോ യു നോ ദാറ്റ് ഐ ക്യാൻ ഡു എനിത്തിങ്. വീട്ടിൽ ഏത് ജോലിയും ചെയ്യാൻ വി വിൽ ബി കാപ്പബിൾ. ഓക്കെ, എനിവേ, ബട്ട് അത് ക്വാറന്റൈൻ സൗകര്യം ഉള്ളിടത്ത്. ബട്ട് ഹിയർ Robinson Crusoe was in quarantine. When he was in quarantine in an island where there was no inhabitant, and not 14 days, 14 months he was there. So Robinson Crusoe is a character of Daniel Defoe's novel. The Life and Adventures of Robinson Crusoe. It was published in 1919. അതിൻ്റെ കോപ്പികളൊക്കെ കിട്ടും നമുക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ. And you may have, some of you may have that pictorial stories, ചിത്രകഥകളൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. റോബിൻസൺ ക്രൂസോ, ബാലരമ, മറ്റേ പോലത്തെ ബാലഭൂമി പോലത്തെ മാസികകളിലൊക്കെ അതിൻ്റെ ചിലവരൊക്കെ വായിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവാം. So it was published in the year 1919. Published in the year 1990. So read the following extract from the Robinson Crusoe's diary. So please read the Robinson Crusoe diary. I, poor miserable Robinson Crusoe, being shipwrecked during the dreadful storm, came ashore on this dismal, unfortunate island, which I called the island of despair. All the rest of the ship's company being drowned, and myself am almost dead. All the rest of the day I spent in afflicting myself at the dismal circumstances I was brought to. I had neither food, house, clothes, nor weapon. In despair, I saw nothing but death before me. Either that I should be devoured by wild beasts, murdered by savages, or starved to death for want of food. At the approach of night, I slept in a tree for fear of wild creatures, but slept soundly, thought it rained, though it rained all night. So this is a diary writing of Robinson Crusoe. So what happened to Robinson Crusoe from the diary? What happened? He was the only man who saved himself from a shipwreck. All the sailors and all other passengers died in that shipwreck. And why does he call the island of despair? Why is it called island of despair? Because that island gave him only despair. He was in a situation, his situation is very, very dangerous. In an island, there was no house, no shelter. And what will be there in the island? There may be some fruits, but wild animals are there. So he has to save himself from the wild animals. And rain, there was no shelter, no house, and only death is before him. At the approach of night, I slept in a tree. So where did he sleep? He sleep on the top of, in a tree, for fear of wild creatures, maybe lion, maybe tiger, or something like that. He, in fear of wild animals, he slept in the night, but slept soundly. വളരെ സുഖമായിട്ട് ഉറങ്ങി. Soundly he slept, though it rained all night. Can you sleep if there is rain without, suppose you are lying on the courtyard, and if there is raining, can you sleep? Can we sleep? We can't sleep. But Robinson Crusoe could sleep without any problem, because he was so much tired. That is why. Imagine that you are going to live alone in a deserted island. Suppose this situation is for you. You are in an island, just like Robinson Crusoe, and you are going to be there for a week. Suppose 1 week you are there. You can ask for any 5 things to live there. You can ask for 5 things to live there. What would they be, and why would you ask them? So this is an activity for you to do. You can ask for 5 things. What are the 5 things you need? And why do you want those 5 things? Select 5 things. You are alone in a desert. Nobody was there. You are alone, only inhabitant, only one person in an island. Only one person, that is you, and you have the choice. 5 things We will give you 5 things. I will give you that 5 things. What 5 things will you choose? Alone in the island, there is no shop. You can't buy anything from the shop or supermarket. And there is no beach or something like that. Beach is there, but it is not just like we are visiting. That beach is not. Beach is there because you are in an island. നാല് ഭാഗവും വെള്ളത്താൽ ചുറ്റപ്പെട്ട സ്ഥലമാണ് നമ്മൾ ഐലൻഡ് എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്നത്. So beach is there, but okay, what necessary things you need? Suppose you can ask for 5 things. If you want money, ready, money you will give. But there is no use money in that island. പണത്തിനൊന്നും ഒരു കാര്യമില്ല അവിടെ. There is no use with money. If there is nobody there, കോടിക്കണക്കിന് രൂപ കയ്യിലുണ്ട്, പക്ഷേ അത് കൊടുക്കാനോ വാങ്ങാനോ കിട്ടുന്ന സാധനമൊന്നുമില്ല. ഓൺലി ഇറ്റ്സ് an uninhabit. Nobody is there. Okay, so today you have to write this in your notebook. It is a challenge for you. It is an activity for you. What are the 5 things you need? Should write it in your notebook and send it to me. Then not only the 5 things you have to write why you choose that, for what purpose, why you are choosing those 5 things. So that is, so discuss your own, not in sheets, discuss your own, then write it. Okay, what are the 5 things you know? Now let us look. So we have already listened or read. We have already read the diary of Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe was in a very pathetic condition, and it's a very interesting novel. The Malayalathilokke പുസ്തകങ്ങൾ ലഭ്യമാണ്. Whenever, if you get time, you can search for the books in the bookshops, and it's a very, very interesting novel. Anyway, let us go. Internet also it may be available. Okay. Robinson Crusoe's കഥ നമ്മൾ കേട്ടു. Now we have a lesson here, a chapter here. It is also related with a shipwreck. So what is a shipwrecked sailor? Shipwrecked sailor. That is the title of the story. A shipwrecked sailor. So that is a very important thing we should know. The story of a shipwrecked sailor tells saga of Luis Alejandro Velasco, a 20-year-old sailor who was washed overboard during a storm in the middle of Caribbean Sea on February 28, 1955. So it is a story of a shipwrecked sailor. Wrecked ship. What is shipwrecked? തകർന്നടിഞ്ഞ ഒരു കപ്പൽ. And tells us the saga. Saga means stories and histories. Stories and histories. ഒരു ചരിത്ര കഥയാണ് പറയുന്നത് of Velasco. It was happened in February 28, 1955. Clinging to a life raft without food and water, he survived 10 days on the open sea. Clinging to a life raft. ഒരു ലൈഫ് റാഫ്റ്റ്, ജീവൻ രക്ഷ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഇതാണ് റാഫ്റ്റ്. We will see it. So on that, without food and water, he stayed 10 days and survived. What happened to Velasco and his shipmates? Classmates, you know. Who is classmates? Those who are studying with you in your class, they are called classmates. And who is the shipmates? Shipmates, those people who are traveling in a ship. The people who are working or traveling. Shipmate, they are called shipmates. Okay, read shipmates with Velasco and his shipmates. Read the following. Start from the novella and find out what happened to them. Let us look what happened to this in this novel. Novel means here what is called prose ആണ്. Prose means stories of an history. ഒരു സംഭവിച്ച കഥ ആണ്. അതിനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ സാഗ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Okay, come back. My first impression was that I was utterly alone in the middle of the ocean. He thought that he was alone in the ocean. So he was in the ocean. So in the beginning of the story, he was in the ocean, in the water. In the middle of the ocean, he thought that my first impression, imagination. My impression means here imagination. എനിക്ക് തോന്നിയത് I was alone in the middle of the ship plunged into an abyss and disappeared. So how the accident happened, how the accident occurred, the ship plunged, താഴ്ന്നു പോയി, into an abyss, ABBYS. What is abyss? Sorry, ABYSS. Abyss. Abyss means ഒരു deep hole, ഒരു അഗാധ ഗർത്തത്തിലേക്ക്, you can use the ചുഴി എന്നൊക്കെ പറയില്ലേ, ഇതിലേക്ക്, and disappeared. I had no idea what was happening. ഷിപ്പ് അതിലേക്കാണ് താഴ്ന്നു പോയി. I had no idea, there was no idea what was happening. I took hold of one of the bubbling crates. One of the bubbling crates. I got hold one of the. I caught one of the bubbling crates. Crates means ഒരു വീഞ്ഞപ്പെട്ടിയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വള്ളിക്കോട്ട പോലെ സാധനം. So it was bubbling. അതിങ്ങനെ തുള്ളിക്കളിക്കുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു on the water. So I got hold of it and stupidly began to contemplate the sea. Then stupidly I began to look what is happening around me. Contemplate means look very carefully, ശ്രദ്ധാപൂർവം വീക്ഷിക്കുക. Contemplate the sea. It was a perfectly clear day except for the choppy waves produced by the wind and the cargo scattered across the surface. There was no evidence of a shipwreck. Except for the choppy waves. Choppy means not calm. Calm അല്ലാത്ത, ശാന്തമല്ലാത്ത ഒരു കടൽ. Calm, not calm. Waves produced by the wind and the cargo scattered across the surface. And the cargo scattered across the surface. So in that sea, it was a perfectly clear day. The day was perfect, very clear. There was no storm, but there was choppy waves. Waves were not calm. വളരെ ശക്തമായ തിരമാലകളുണ്ട്, but produced by the wind, as a result of the wind, and the cargo scattered across. The ship plunged into the sea and the cargos mean that there were a lot of articles inside so some of them adangane paarikkalikunnuണ്ട്. Cargos scattered across surface. There was no evidence of a shipwreck. Shipwreckinte ഒരു evidence ഇല്ല. That means ship itself is disappeared. No ship is there. Ship itself is disappeared. So no evidence of shipwreck was there. Ship is itself disappeared, so there is no evidence of shipwreck. Some cargoes are floating in the water. That was. Soon I began to hear sounds nearby. I thought I was the only one in that sea. Soon I began to hear shouts nearby. Some shouts, some noises nearby. Though the sharp whistling in the wind, I recognized the voice of Giulio Amador Caraballo. I heard the noise, but though there was a voice, what is called, there was sharp whistling of the wind. A sharp whistling. Wind is there and it's whistling. Wind കാറ്റിൻ്റെ ഒരു ചെറിയ ശീൽക്കാര ശബ്ദം ഉണ്ടാവും. So in the midst of that sound, I could recognize the voice of Amador Caraballo. I know that it is. So sailor, his friends are there in the ship. Where? who were there in the ship? His friends were there. Carabello, the tall, well-built officer who was yelling at once, "Fasto, hold there, Fasto, hold there." So his sound I can hear. I can imagine, I can understand, I can recognize his sound. It was as if in that instant I had awakened from the moment's deep sleep. It was as if in that instant I had awakened. I could imagine that I just woke up from that instant. It dawned me that awakened from moment's deep sleep. I was sleeping, I just woke up. I thought so, or I imagined so, or അങ്ങനെ എനിക്ക് തോന്നിയത്, ഞാൻ ഇപ്പോൾ ഒന്ന് ഉറങ്ങി എഴുന്നേറ്റതുപോലെ. It dawned me that it wasn't alone in the sea. Then I could understand I was not alone in the sea. There are only few meters away. There, only a few meters away, my mates were shouting to one another and trying to stay afloat. Some of them, I could understand that some of them were some meters away. Some of them were a little meters away, few meters away. My mates, my friends were shouting to one another, trying to stay afloat. They are trying to stay afloat, afloat. ഫ്ലോട്ട്, പാറി നിൽക്കാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുകയാണ് അവർ, കടലേക്ക് താഴാതിരിക്കാൻ ശ്രമിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. Quickly I began to think I couldn't swim in just any direction. I am so weak I cannot swim to any direction. I knew we were about 50 miles from Cartagena. So I knew that the place I know, we were 50 miles from away, 50 miles Cartagena, but I was not yet frightened. Even though I was not frightened, there is no, for a moment I thought I could hold on to the crate indefinitely. I thought I could hold on to the crate indefinitely. I thought that I can catch in this crate. Crate ആ ചങ്ങാടം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ ഒരു സാധനം തള്ളിപ്പിടിച്ച സാധനം. In that crate I can catch for a long time, indefinitely. എത്ര സമയം വേണമെങ്കിലും I can, until help arrived. I thought. That is why I didn't be afraid. It was reassuring to know that all around me other sailors were in the same predicament. Even though it was reassuring, that means giving a solace, ഒരു ആശ്വാസം നൽകുന്നത് എന്തായിരുന്നു? To know that all around me the other sailors were in the same predicament. ബാക്കിയുള്ളവരൊക്കെ അതേപോലെ തന്നെ. So that gave me a മനസ്സിന് ചെറിയ റിലീഫ്. ഐ തോട്ട്, കാരണം ഒരാൾ രക്ഷപ്പെട്ട് മറ്റൊരാൾ രക്ഷപ്പെടാതിരിക്കുമ്പോഴല്ലേ ഉള്ളൂ ഇത് എല്ലാവരുടെയും അവസ്ഥ അതൊക്കെ തന്നെയാണെന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കിയപ്പോൾ ഇറ്റ് ഗവ് എ സ്മോൾ റിലീഫ്. ദാറ്റ് വാസ് വെൻ ഐ സോ ദ റാഫ്റ്റ്. വെൻ ഐ സോ എ റാഫ്റ്റ്, ദാറ്റ് വാസ് വെൻ ഐ സോ ദ റാഫ്റ്റ്. ആ റാഫ്റ്റ് കണ്ടപ്പോഴാണ് എനിക്ക് അങ്ങനെ തോന്നിയത്. സോ എവറിബഡി വാസ് ഇൻ ദ സെയിം പ്രെഡിക്കാമെൻറ്റ്. സോ വി ഹാവ് കംപ്ലീറ്റഡ് 2 paragraphs there. Sorry, 2 paragraphs because. Then what happened to the narrator? There is a question, what happened to the narrator? You have to write the answer. What appeared reassuring to the narrator? Narratorക്ക് ആശ്വാസം തോന്നിയത് എന്താണ്? What appeared reassuring to the narrator? So these 2 questions are to be written, and moreover you have to write the words also, meaning words. There are a lot of words I think which were new for you. A lot of words are there. So you have to write the words meaning at first, then you have to write 2 question and its answers. Okay, you can look at the end of the unit, some glossary is given there. So there you can look for the meanings. Glossary is there, so you can search for the meanings there. So anyway you have to write all the words which you don't know, the meanings you should write. Then we have to complete the at the end. So if you have doubts in any of the words, you may please contact with me either by WhatsApp or by message or any call, anything. I will respond to you to your call. Anyway, thank you. Let us stop here. So what is the work for you today? 2 question answers and also this word meanings. Okay, thank you. Let us stop now.